Alright, welcome to Deadbeat Devs, episode 1. We may come up with a different name for this,
little tech
particular
talk show.
But, give me the rundown. We're going to be going through a few different tech articles we find quite interesting. We're going to give our opinions. You may like them, you may not. We recommend you check out the articles, form your own opinions, hey. But, yeah, we're just kind of giving you some pointers to what you may want to look at on the internet, what's happening in the tech world.
And if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, let us know in the comments. I mean, we're open to all opinions.
Yeah.
Just be civil about it.
Yeah, as long as they agree with my opinion, I'm totally open to it.
Oh yeah, that's only because your opinion is always right. Yeah, of course.
All right. Yeah. Might as well just move into the first thing we want to talk about.
And that was an article you found, right? That was
well,
let's see,
a video actually. Just pop on over to here. It is a YouTube video by the YouTuber Tom Scott. Basically what he talks about, it's entitled 2030 Privacy is Dead, What Happens Next. It's kind of a prediction of what's going to happen within the year 2030 with technology. Now if you're not familiar with Tom Scott, I think he's fairly popular on YouTube, and he does a lot of tech videos and just kind of a lot of fun videos.
Well, until you sent me the video and had me watch it, I'd never heard of him, never seen any of his videos, so I might not be the only one. If I am, well, I'm just out of the loop then.
Yeah,
so basically what he just goes through is talks about as if it were the year 2030, with privacy being deteriorating as it is now. In the year 2030, it's completely gone. Everyone knows what you're doing, where you are, who you're doing it with, what you're saying, and basically what things would be like. Like, is it worth it to lose all sense of privacy? But he also talks about some of the positives. For example, because technology allows everyone to know where you are at all times, crime rates are significantly lower. The number of unreported crimes goes down as well, because crime rate is just able to be reported much better than it was.
Yeah, it's dystopian by today's standards. The things he talks about.
Well, no, he said it's somewhere between dystopian and utopian. It's something more for you to make up your mind about.
Yeah. He never specifies if it's 1984 or Utopia, which book he's going for. I mean, I think the overall theme of it is just, in order to reap the full benefits of this technology, you need to be able to, you got to give up some of your privacy. And that's just the trade-off. You got to determine.
The idea is you have to give something to get something.
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite parts in it is he talks about, how typing in 2030 is becoming a niche skill.
Yeah, because
the damage that can happen when these quote-unquote keyboard vigilantes, decide to use all this information that's available about everyone to wreak havoc. So obviously he's talking about some kind of hackers, who actually know how all these systems work. It's kind of interesting. Let's move on. How about a $35 Android phone?
Bet a lot of people would be interested in that with what phone costs nowadays.
Yeah, and a spec sheet that comes from 2005. So this is the $35 Firefox OS phone. Specifically, it is the Intex Cloud FX. Now, this is essentially targeting the fact that only 1/3 of the people in the world are online, and people in places, for lack of a better term, third world countries.
Well, that is the term.
Not totally PC, but. People that make, like what it says here, $1,500 a year, a $100 phone, which is pretty cheap, is still, a pretty sizable purchase. So it's, let's just go through the specs real quick.
All right.
Yeah. So let's see. We have a 3.5-inch screen at 480 by 320. An LCD.
Nothing amazing.
A 1 gigahertz SoC chip, 128 meg of RAM,
Oof.
And 56 meg of internal storage. This actually has more memory than internal storage. Yeah, but you have Wi-Fi, you have Bluetooth, and it's a functioning phone for $35.
For $35, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
No strings attached, no special deals like it's $35 down, but you have to pay another $500 over a 12-month period, or You know, he's locking a
Yeah,
2-year contract.
for what
or
it is, I
something.
don't think I would pay more than $35.
Well,
but
yeah.
it's just interesting, you know, something like this. If not this phone, I see it kind of taking off in places. You know, a lot of people that their only access to the internet may be through, you know, cell towers, and in poorer countries, you know, this is a viable option if your income is $1,500 a year.
If your income is $1,500 a year, and you can get an Android smartphone for $35, I think you wouldn't even think twice about it. Well, sorry, Firefox OS. So it's Firefox's own operating system.
I don't know why I said Android.
Anyway,
moving on. So Apple, the innovators that they always are, they actually came up with a way to, you know how, you know, Ellen DeGeneres actually even pointed this out.
she said it perfectly.
You know, people have been looking for the time
by looking at our phones. You know, I had to pull our phones out of our pockets and then had to look at them.
I mean, yeah, that's the way.
And
that's
be
the
like,
way my
oh,
grandparents
okay,
did it.
you know,
It's been going on just far too long. And Apple, the innovators over there in California, they came up with a way to actually tell the time simply by looking at your wrist. It's always available.
Incredible.
I don't.
How did we ever live without this?
Like remember, like Apple even invented like the tablet. Like, I mean,
I know, right? They were the first ones to ever have a tablet PC. No one else had ever thought of creating one.
Yeah. So, all joking aside, the iWatch, the watch, the Apple
whatever they're calling it,
the Apple wrist strap-on is out. Or is it out? I don't care.
I think it's coming out. I don't think it's out yet.
Yeah, so, you know, this article is just kind of talking about, they think a next gold rush, terrible term, is going to happen with app developers. And, you know, I see this in, you know, yeah, apps have already been developed for Android phones, but the reason it kind of, you know, it kind of makes sense to me, there are developers that still only do iOS development. They, you know, they don't care to, you know, port over to Android and
branch out a bit.
And yeah, so there are a lot more apps actually on the, you know, on Apple Store, and some of it's just because of age, but some is because developers don't port to Android. You know, and because of this, maybe we'll see those developers come up with some kind of cool things for the watch. Frankly, I would never wear a watch that looks like this.
Well, I mean, it looks like a smartwatch. Like, I know Samsung
that
had,
looks
like,
exactly
the Galaxy watches. It looks almost exactly the same to me. I mean, just for different layout on it.
They slapped an iOS looking GUI on it.
Yeah, but I mean, first of all, the first thing is I never understood the appeal of a smartwatch in the first place.
Oh no, it's ridiculous.
Because, I mean, what are you really going to do with it? I mean, yeah, I can give you the time, but I mean, you know, I have a watch already. It tells time perfectly. I don't need to go out and buy something that's going to sync up to my phone for the time. I mean,
I'd consider buying one of these, maybe if it was its own standalone device. Also, if, you know, transparent LCD or LED screens, kind of, you know, that technology gets better. So if I could get a real watch where it would only become opaque when a notification came through, and otherwise I just saw a mechanical watch, I mean, I think that'd be something.
That would be very cool.
That'd be something interesting.
That I would wear, but I mean,
and if it was a standalone device.
Moving on.
Next topic. Now, this is the future of cryptography on outdated Nokia phones. Now, what it kind of boils down to, I don't know if the reporter here totally knew what they were talking about, but this is an article on just some kind of fancy way some people use an old Nokia phone and a laser to develop as kind of a hardware quantum random number generator.
Truly random numbers, because
almost truly.
Well,
it's not perfect.
As close to truly random as they can get right now, because for those of you that don't know, a computer cannot truly generate numbers at random. There's always some kind of pattern. No matter how complex the algorithm the programmer writes, there is some pattern to follow.
So the reason this is a big deal in computers, like I said, cryptography, things like, you know, SSL, are going to use this for, you know, securing communications. And now, in this specific experiment, they were able to generate 1 megabit of random numbers, 1 megabit per second of random numbers, by shining a laser onto the lens of a Nokia N9. I don't know exactly why they used that phone. They could have used anything with a lens in
Maybe it's just what someone had at the time. They, you know,
yeah.
it's like, hey, dude, give me your phone for a second. I want to try something.
Yeah. So essentially, quantum random number generation is going to take advantage of the fact that you know, when you get down to the atomic level, you can truly generate random things. Essentially, it's very basic. You can never predict with 100% accuracy when a particle is going to emit a photon of light. So using this, and it gets more complicated. You can actually read the scientific paper linked off of this article. But essentially, using that, they're able to generate a stream of random numbers from just a simple laser being shown into the
Just light.
Yeah, being shown. Because when a laser emits light, it's actually the particles leaving it at any unit of time are actually fluctuating around the mean. It's not totally constant. So using that, they're able to generate random numbers. And at 1 megabit per second, which isn't extremely fast, but pretty good.
It's a start. And we also were able to pull up a live stream of this actually happening.
Yeah. So this is just to show quantum random number generation is not exactly a new thing. You know, there have been hardware random number generators that you know, use slightly different techniques. But regardless, this is just something. This is actually from the Australian National University, and it is a live stream of they're taking the data being generated by a quantum random number generator, kind of similar to the one used in the article, but obviously a bit more. It's not a phone with a laser being shined onto it, and they're using that.
It's a bit more complex than that.
Yeah, they're using those
Just
numbers to basically just generate RGB colors and just live stream it to you. So it's kind of a cool thing. We'll link to that.
A quick little live show for you.
Yeah, a bunch of pretty colors. It's cool.
Next article, this one we found to be a bit humorous, is that, you know, just another reason for you to think that your phone companies or cable companies are really, really stupid, and another reason for you to hate them. Apparently, AT&T and Verizon believe that 10 megabits per second is too fast for broadband users.
Oh yeah, man. What would you do with 10 megabit?
I don't know. That's more than I could ever, you know.
I couldn't even imagine.
That's more than I could dream of ever having and using. I mean, like, what could I possibly do with all that?
Yeah, that's an absurd amount of data.
All kidding aside.
Yeah, so this just kind of shows I wouldn't say ineptitude, because they know exactly what they're doing when they say things like this. I mean, yes, and this is based off the fact that, you know, most people are just going to do web browsing.
YouTube, email.
Yeah, and, you know, I guess most of the time they do not pull more than 10 megabit per second. But, yeah, so even in the article it states that streaming a 1080p Netflix video will take up a constant 7 megabit. I'm not sure if those numbers are totally correct. That was claimed by Comcast. But, you know, if one person is streaming a 1080p video, then, okay, yeah, nobody else can be connected, you know. Disconnect your tablet, disconnect your phone, get off the computer, you know, because otherwise the video is going to be choppy. This is just insanity that they're saying this.
Buffering.
Yeah, it's
just really, really stupid. It's really absurd. I mean, we have a 30 megabit per second internet connection.
Yeah, and it hangs up. I mean, we are getting, you know, 30 megabit, but we're totally utilizing it.
Almost all of it all the time.
Yeah,
and it's sufficient, but to have any less than that, it would.
I can't imagine 10 megabit.
No, we couldn't.
A third of our internet speed.
10 megabit speed.
Take turns
but
gaming.
But split between the both of us, just right then and there, it wouldn't work.
No,
it couldn't.
Yeah.
It's just really and also on a related note, you know, something we think could tie into that is one more article about.
Yeah, so we'll be moving now, kind of into gaming, since we do gaming as part of our channel.
We like to keep things a little, you know.
Yeah, so we figured that this is a nice segue. We found a nice article that states digital game downloads are worse for the environment than Blu-ray discs,
and we find it a little hard to believe that, first of all.
Yeah. So, you can read through the article, but it seems to me that these people, I don't know who this was published by, but perhaps they had some reason to say something like this. But
we're not implying anything.
But let's see. You know, they say here on an 8.8 PlayStation 3 game, let's see. Here are the actual numbers they pulled up. So 20.82 kilograms of carbon emitted per physical copy, and 27.53 kilograms of carbon
on a digital download.
And it seems to me, anyways, that they were assuming worst case scenarios for the digital downloads and kind of best case scenarios for the physical copies. So, and there were things that they seemed to blatantly just leave out. You know, for instance, they didn't even take into account. You know, they talked about the Blu-ray factory. The factory that's actually gonna.
I mean, those numbers I assume are correct because there should be only one way or one number for how much carbon a physical copy generates.
Yeah, but they didn't even seem. It seems to me they didn't even take into account. The people that work at that factory. They have to. How long is their commute? How much gas do they burn getting to their job?
That is true.
I mean, there were about 5 or 6 things I could have pointed out that they didn't seem to take into account for the physical copies. And actually, the funniest thing, kind of relating into the last article,
is
one of the biggest things they cited as a reason that
digital downloads cause more carbon
is the fact that
they use more electricity.
Yeah, that computers have to be on for that entire download. And they say things, like the monitor has to be on. And this was just kind of hilarious to me after having pulled up the last article. 10 megabit per second.
If we had faster internet, therefore faster download speeds, we would use less electricity and therefore leave a smaller carbon footprint when we download stuff like games.
It's almost as if 10 megabit per second isn't fast enough.
How could you say that?
I mean, no, maybe it is.
No, of course it is.
No, I think AT&T's right, actually.
Yeah, of course. Of course. AT&T and Verizon, you guys are right. We don't need faster than 10 megabits. In fact, what the article actually said is that they think that 1 megabit per second is enough for the average household.
AT&T, Comcast, whoever, AT&T,
Verizon.
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 You're destroying the world.
Please stop.
I like the
You're
world.
ruining the internet for all of us. Moving on. In other gaming-related news, apparently Microsoft is buying Minecraft for $2.5 billion.
Well, buying Mojang.
Mojang, excuse me. But Minecraft,
I mean, okay, yeah.
They're buying Mojang, and therefore they are also getting Minecraft.
Yeah. I actually saw one article that said Microsoft to buy Minecraft creator Notch. I'm like,
they're gonna buy Notch?
Yeah.
So apparently Notch put a price tag on himself.
Yeah.
I mean, although I guess, if someone is willing to pay $2.5 billion for me, I might sell myself.
Yeah. So this talk, I think they've been talking about this for a while. In one of the articles, there was a tweet pulled up from November of 2012 about Notch talking about a $2 billion price tag now.
He said, if they want it, it's $2.5 billion and it's yours.
Yeah. So it's clearly been going on for a while, but there's a lot of speculation. It's supposed to be announced Monday. That's a day from today that it's official.
Right now,
I'm just kind of curious to see, what is Microsoft going to do with this. They obviously Minecraft just came to the Xbone.
Apparently, now it's never going to go to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sony.
I mean, simply get it on the PC. Moving on
to our last article.
Yeah.
Smite is getting Xboned.
This one hits home for us.
Oh yeah.
So, as part of the glorious PC gaming master race,
this one and only.
Yeah, this one kind of hurts us.
That one of our favorite games will be ported over to the Xbox One.
It is being bent over and Xboned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of my first reaction to this outrage, as it should be, upon my high throne.
I didn't care too much. I mean, I did feel good that, knowing that this was such a great game that we just had on the PC, and now it's moving over to the Xbox One.
Yeah, now you're going to have to pay $60 to play a game that
we all play for free.
Yeah, aside from microtransactions, which totally optional, it's actually it's not.
I haven't spent a penny on Smite.
Yeah,
I mean, everything I've just gotten from playing the game.
You probably should support the developers, but I eventually did find a silver lining. I doubt it, but if this ends up being cross-platform, I mean, the pub stomping just got a lot more enjoyable. I mean, a 20-0 game is going to be easy. As long as it's cross-platform with an option for PC gamers.
One-way cross-platform.
Yeah.
In other words, only we can play with the Xbox users.
Yeah. So
they can't play with us.
We have the Xbox PC lobbies, and then we have the PC only lobbies. The Xbox players just can't mosey on over into our space.
They can't queue for a PC Xbox cross-platform.
Yeah.
We can go bust into their lobbies, but they can't come into ours.
Yeah, when we want quality games, we can play League games. But if we want, just absolute pub stomping, we can go cross-platform. No, but seriously, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It is a third person. I mean,
it could work. I mean, as far as MOBAs go, Smite would be the best contender to be on a console and used with a controller, just because of how the game itself works. I mean, top-down MOBA. Although Diablo 3 did work relatively well on the PlayStation and the Xbox, and that is top-down.
I heard other things.
I have played actually Diablo 3 on the Xbox 360 with one of my old roommates.
It's rough.
It wasn't that bad, honestly.
So now we're done with articles. I'd just like to move on. Kind of a last segment of the show that I kind of want to try is just media recommendations. So this will be part of the show. We just talk about, have we watched any cool videos? Have we watched any cool movies?
Read any good books?
Yeah. So this week featured is one of my favorite books I've read in a really long time. It's called Don't Steal This Computer Book 4.0. It's fairly recent. It's probably a few years old, but it just talks about hacker communities kind of throughout the age. Throughout the ages, it goes all the way back to phone phreakers. What people were doing when phones were first invented to mess with them.
For people that don't know what a phone phreaker is, why don't you
get off our channel?
Wow, that was hostile.
Yeah, no. So phone phreakers are just essentially not really crank callers. They're a step above crank callers.
Yeah.
They're hackers of phones. Very basically. So this book, it's not a step-by-step guide on how to do hacking, and even if it were, it's a few years old. So hey, but it definitely gives you an interesting look into the hacker mindset, the hacker culture. And if you're at all interested in that, I highly recommend you check out this book. I don't know, pick it up on Amazon. I don't know. I doubt if any bookstores will have it, but
they might. I mean, you never know. You'd be surprised some of the books you can find at bookstores.
I'd order it online.
Because ordering it online is just always better. Why would you want to leave your house and go to a bookstore?
Yeah, the sun's outside. All right, so I think that
just about wraps things up.
Yep. So
thank you for staying with us.
End of the episode. So this is kind of our main episode. We'll try and do these, periodically. Keep these
semi-regular.
Yeah, keep these semi-regular, and they're kind of going to be in your just news, and also a look into what our channel is going to be, what videos we're going to be uploading. We don't have any planned right now. We have a few planned, but nothing actually done. So I don't want to give any promises about what's going to be up. But as Steve and myself, we start doing more videos and we finish them, we'll then,
we'll start getting our get a bit of a routine going with being able to pump out videos more regularly to keep you guys satisfied, entertained,
keep you informed on what's going to come up.
So with that, this is the Deadbeat Devs signing off.
Yeah.